People pleasing not only harms you, it actually oftentimes harms the person you think you're pleasing. And when I finally understood that, that actually helped motivate me to stop doing this crap. Because I'm sitting here thinking that I'm like doing something good, for them, and actually I'm not. So let me just give you a dumb example that just happened today where I didn't fall into people pleasing, approval seeking, or whatever. Look at my dog. He's just can't. King baby. Anyway, I didn't fall for it, but I almost did. So I came out of the pharmacy and this woman was approaching me and she was like, and she looked at me like we're buddies. And I'm like, and I went into panic mode, like, oh my God, do I know her? And I forgot. And I went into this whole like shame spiral, like, how could you forget who this is? Like, my brain, if you could tell, I'm a super hyper person. My husband calls me Tornado Rainbow. People have always called me like the Energizer Bunny who literally never wears out. I do. I'm narcoleptic, so I do actually go eventually. But my mind is just always like, just like my body. I'm ADHD, blah, blah, blah. I'm always like, whatever. I wish I could take downers sometimes, So I'm in this whole shame spiral, like, why don't I know this lady? Like, and then I realized, like, she pulls out a clipboard and she's like, and then she's speaking in French. Then I go into another shame spiral of, well, why isn't your French better? Blah, 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 right? I've got like 2 streams of self-hate going now, right? My ego and brain and trauma will latch onto anything to make me hate myself. And I was like, oh, wait, I think she's trying to sell me something. Oh, right. She's using the like familiar thing, being like, oh, hey, oh, look who's awake. Look at you. That whole like, we're friends thing to try to like get me to sign up for some crap that I don't want, And so she starts off like, basically saying, do you have a moment? I just want to la la la. And I was like, no. And this is one of the reasons why actually being in a foreign country makes it sometimes easier for me to not do approval seeking and people pleasing. Cause I know I'm not going to understand most of what she's saying. Even though I've been studying French for a while, I can get by. The brain power to understand what in the fork this person's talking about, I just don't have it, and I know that. And so I'm like, no, I just keep going. Now, that is the new Melanie, okay? That is not how I used to behave. I would have in the past, and this is what men know, and they exploit all the time, y'all. They exploit our trauma responses. They exploit people pleasing, approval seeking, the internal pressure, the external, like systemic pressure, societal pressure, familiar pressure to be nice, and like pleasing and just, hey, happy. Especially, I'm from the South where white women are just, while feeling dead inside and full of rage and all kinds of stuff, and we're not allowed to ever talk about it, right? Which is how we end up with white women being awful. Anyone we have power over. That's another video. So anyway, in the past, I would have been like, okay. So instead of listening for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes about something I don't care about at all, and I'm going to eventually say no to, I cut her off and said no and moved on with my day. Now, here's the interesting part. In the past, I would have sat through a whole lecture about something I'm absolutely not interested in and I'm not going to sign up for. And the whole time I'd be really pissed at myself because I'm abandoning myself because I know that I don't want this thing, but I'm pretending like I do because I don't want to hurt their feelings. But meanwhile, I'm not only wasting my time and frustrating myself and like abandoning myself, which is what I do in every turn. I'm also literally wasting this person's time. Now, as somebody who used to be a waitress and used to work in tourism, in outdoor adventure tourism and stuff, I know how much energy and time goes into talking to people for a living. I talk to y'all for a living, right? And it's tiring. I love it, but that's why when I travel, especially for work, I have learned that I need to not stay in Airbnbs or any situation where I have to like socialize because I have an unlimited amount of social energy. A limited amount. And so I have to use discretion or I'm going to burn out. And so by me letting somebody, this really kind woman, she seemed so nice, I don't even know what she was like trying to talk me into, but it was probably for like a great organization that maybe needs the money. And by me sitting there and letting her go through the whole drill of explaining this thing, which is very tiring to her, I am actually wasting her time, wasting my time, and preventing her from finding somebody who is truly invested in what she's talking about, who will actually give her money. So my people pleasing and approval seeking, me trying to like, control how she feels, control her disappointment, and be so worried about, her being disappointed and therefore not liking me and thinking I'm amazing. I'm actually causing her harm. Now, not a lot of harm, but I'm wasting her energy. And as somebody who has to manage her energy, because other times that's why I'm getting, I really get now just how selfish I can be when I'm trying to get people's approval and people please. Now, again, I know that people pleasing and approval seeking is a trauma response, and it is absolutely one of the biggest forms of my codependency. And that when I was a child, I absolutely needed to do this all the time in order to get fed and stay alive. But that like maladaptive or whatever you call it behavior does not serve me anymore. It actually destroys me because I end up living in resentment, being bitter, feeling not like seen, and all these terrible things because I'm not using my voice and I'm not listening. And I'm so focused on everybody and what they need or what I think they need. And I have a thermometer up everyone's butt that I don't even know how to put one up my own butt. You know what I mean? So here's the cool thing though. If you suffer from codependency, you can, which I think most women under patriarchy are somewhat conditioned to be codependent. That's the only way we can have these individualistic lone wolf men. Patriarchy would fall apart without codependency, which is another reason why you should work on it. But you can actually use your codependency for good. If you actually start to understand that approval seeking and people pleasing can and does harm, or at the very least waste the time of people who do mean no harm to you, who are just doing their job or whatever, if you won't be true to yourself out of self-love and self-respect, because maybe those things come hard to you because of all your trauma or whatever, all the stuff behind that, then do it for them. You know what I mean? I'm gonna give one more example to prove my point, and this is pretty extreme, but I used to let men get away with really creepy behavior all the time because I was so focused on them and their shame and my fear. And I went into the fawn response and I would freeze, one of the two or both. And when I started realizing that I'm enabling this man to do this behavior, which is actually not serving him at all, he's becoming a worse person because I'm pretending like I'm cool with it. And more importantly, I'm setting this man up to think that it's okay that he sit this close to me or touch my leg on the subway. And all the women who come after me, all the women that are going to sit next to this man, maybe my behavior and my people pleasing has given this man a little bit more confidence to do that to another woman. So I did not love myself enough to stop men from doing this stuff to me. But when I and I know this is kind of a messed up way to approach it, but it worked for me. When I started to think of how I might be harming either that person, if they're not a predator, but harming other people by enabling this behavior towards me and abandoning myself and pretending I'm okay with things I'm not okay with, pretending I want things that I don't want, saying yes to things I mean no to, that the more that I do that, the more I actually enable other people to possibly do the same thing to another woman, more importantly, a younger woman, a woman who doesn't have as much experience as I do in terms of understanding how dangerous men really are. When I started to center the impact this would have on other women, boy, was that a game changer. That tapping into that motive gave me the courage to start standing up for myself. Now, I don't know, maybe it's messed up, but it really helped me, y'all. And then the more I stood up for myself and the more honest I was with myself, the more I love myself. It's win-win. I don't know, maybe try.